guys, welcome to our panel, Frontiers in Finance. I'm Alyce Denson, I'm the CFO of Wealth Watchers. A little bit about myself, I've been doing nonprofit accounting for over 20 plus years. I have an affinity for it. And we also have with us today Roslyn, Bryant, Lender Relations Specialist for Small Business Administration, and Caleena, Shirley. I'll make sure I pronounce her name correctly. Caleena, Shirley, Regional Director for BBIF, which stands for Black Business Investment Fund. So the focus of our panel today is for small and emerging businesses to know, and I'm going to steal this from you, the business of the business, which is before you get you go and doing your business, it's getting the infrastructure and your accounting and all the little details in order before you go and try and assess a loan. So, would you guys like to talk a little bit about yourself? No? Well, we'll just get right into it. Don't worry about it. So, the questions today are, what are some of the minimum qualifications that someone coming into either one of your organizations should have in order so that they can obtain a loan? I'll start with you, Ms. Bryant.
Okay. For the Small Business Administration, as you know, we are a federal agency that works very closely with the lending institutions in the area to provide funding for small businesses. So the requirements or the qualifications in order for you to do business with SBA, you must be an operating business, you must be a for-profit business, you must qualify up under the SBA's size standards. You must be located in USA. You must be you may not be on an eligible business list. You must have credit worthy. You must be credit worthy. You must demonstrate some type of reasonable ability to repay a loan. And it's one I'm missing, I can't think of it now, but it goes into, and you may not be able to receive credit elsewhere on a reasonable terms. Because usually with SBA, if you find a lending institution to work with you with the SBA loans, usually you're getting the smaller rates, your no balloon notes, longer maturity. So we say we have better terms than usually other lenders have outside of SBA. But with that being said, once you meet those qualifications, you must find a lending institution to work with you. We have many lending institutions in the area that works with SBA for our SBA lending. And you must find one that is willing to participate with you in your business plan. So you must prepare a business plan, which is a complete description of your business, including how much you're trying to borrow, what you plan to use the money for, all that good stuff. Once you develop that business plan, then we usually say work closely with the lending institution that you bank with right now. So build a relationship with that lending institution. If you are a small business, you should have a relationship with your lending institution at this point right now, regardless if you're looking for funds or not. Build a relationship. That is the key. Do not wait until you need those funds 2 weeks, a month, 3 months out before you step in that lending institution and say, hey, can you provide funds with me? For me, more than likely, it's going to be no, we can't help you, and you've been placing your money in this institution for many years, and you're going to say, well, why you won't work with me? Well, I don't know you. That's the same personally. You would not lend money to someone you do not know. So start building a relationship right now. And as I said, we work very closely with lending institutions in the area that provide those services for you. And Caleena, which works for BBIF, she's one of the lending institutions, so now she will kind of take it on and kind of tell you how it works throughout.
Sure, so happy to be here and so happy that we're having this conversation amongst this conference. So I'm very thankful for Troy and the group for putting this panel together because it's so essential that we get this in. You guys are going to be the carriers back to your community, so we need more people to hear what we're saying today. Specifically, I want you guys to understand and know that BBIF is the only Black-led, Black-run financial institution in the state of Florida whose target market is Black-owned businesses. We've been around for 34 years. Out of the Central Florida areas, our headquarters, I opened up the Jacksonville, office in 2019. Since 2019, I've done, as of Friday, I closed my first $1 million loan this year, a $1.3 million loan to a black business. So to date, I've done $7.3 million here in your market. So that's major, because 97% of our overall portfolio is black-owned businesses. So this is not fluff. This is not just putting a black face in front of you. Our institution is based hyper-intentionally on making sure that we help black businesses get access to capital. Now that corporate pitch is over, we're gonna keep it real. Because getting access to capital is a very nice phrase and statement for saying how to acquire a loan. And acquiring a loan is another word for debt. And so when she's talking about having a plan, we have to understand that when you're going to acquire something that you have to pay back, that has very large implications on your life of your business growth. If you default and if you get into those troubled spaces, you have to have a plan for that, because it's not always going to go perfect. So what are the things you need to get access to capital? One, you need to be in business. And what does that mean? That does not just mean that you have a registered business with the state of Florida or here with the city of Jacksonville. That's step one. But being in business, you should think as a mindset of, I am in business when I'm able to generate revenue. Because until you start generating revenues, you are participating in a hobby. And we just have to be honest with each other about that. We have to be very honest with each other that until we start generating revenues, we are not in business yet. We are participating in a hobby.
One time for the people in the back.
We are participating in a hobby. But that's important, because a lot of startups have this idea, because of this space called YouTube University, that's telling everybody that you can go get this $50,000 business startup grant. That's telling folks that SBA specifically has startup grants for small businesses. So what I need you to do, and why you need to have also a relationship with your lending institution, is you need to understand what these things really mean in definition. Because startup to lending institutions, to SBA, is usually anyone that's up to 3 years in business. But then there's those and other things, like kind of on your resume, on your job description as your job. It says your job description. It says what you're supposed to do, and then at the bottom it says and other duties as assigned. So in banking terms, we need to understand the terminology of what are those and other criteria that goes along with you being in business, right? And so some of that other criteria is that you need to be in business usually at least 2 years. Some institutions like ourselves, 1 year is the baseline. But why? It's because we need to be able to look at these things called financials. That shows how you're capturing revenue, at what pace, how consistently, and that's helping us then determine your credit worthiness to understand if you can really afford this $50,000 loan that you're accessing based on your revenue history. And so if you have not been in business at least a year and you're not generating revenues, we don't have anything to base that on. So that's kind of like Cousin Leroy coming and asking you for $1,000, and you know he's been working on his business for the last 5 years, but you've never seen anything come from it. But yet he has the website, he's got a business card, he goes to all these conferences, but you have yet to see a product of the business, or that he's even able to sustain himself on that business, because he's always asking for money. So if you have nothing to then base that lending decision on, how do you think we're supposed to make those type of determinations? So we need you to, one, be in business, be generating revenues, and then the next biggest thing I need you to do is be accountable for the revenues that you're reporting. So we do these things called Blackonomics, where we don't necessarily like to fully capture money coming in because we have a fear of taxes. But if on your tax return, and you've been in business, you're doing well, you're generating revenues, and on your tax return, you tell us that you are negative $11,000 every year for the last 3 years, that means you're not profitable. And so yes, you've decreased your tax liability, but you've also told to the federal government you're not making profit. So when you bring that tax return to a financial institution to get a loan, you've now told us you are not profitable. And if you are not profitable, that means you don't have enough money to repay this loan you're asking for. So we have to be very conscious of how we're moving in business. And so the reason why I brought Ms. Roslyn to this panel today is because I need you all to understand that you don't need to go pay $500, $1,500 to some internet guru who's going to tell you how to create business credit, because there's a whole nother asterisk that goes after that then comes back to all these financials and things that we're talking about. I need you to understand that you have resources in this community that are free, that are from the lending institutions that are going to be able to help you understand how to prepare yourself in the next 4, 6 months to a year to actually be lendable. And they're right here in the Jacksonville community. And it starts with your banking relationship, because every lender has different criteria. Every lender has a different underwriting process. But in general, there's not a lender here in Jacksonville who's not providing some level of SBA loan product. So go to the source. If we're lending their product and you have an SBA office right here in Jacksonville, go to the source. They do webinars, they're accessible, they'll answer your questions, but go to the source and get the information to know what is needed. And I'm just going to be honest with you. If you have only been in business for a year, you should not be looking for a loan. Unless you have a government contract or an amazing opportunity, that is not the way you want to start your business. Starting your business in debt is the stepping stones to taking you out of business. Because debt will take you out of business just like not having working capital can. So what you need is technical assistance and a strategy to grow your revenues. And if you're accessing a loan, you want to make sure that what you're accessing from a loan product is not going to pay Junior to be your assistant because he's living at home and you need him to help with the bills. You need to be accessing a loan that's going to go to your bottom line, which means it's growing your business in some kind of way. I'll stop there because I can talk for another hour. I know we got some questions, so I want to make sure we get some questions in there. But I mean, you got a few questions for us, or?
Well, one of my questions is, so when someone comes to you, when I ask what the basics are, should they have the profit and loss? Should it be on a piece of legal pad paper? How do you guys?
Post it, no.
What are like some of those minimal things that people I think are neglecting to put in place when they start their businesses?
Sure. So when we say financials, let's understand what the financials are that you need to have going to look for any loan. And when I say loans, and we're talking about lending, we're not talking about fintech, third-party lenders. We're not talking about, anybody online. We're talking about real financial institutions. You need financials. And those financials is a profit and loss statement. And a profit and loss statement is a document that you can create yourself if you have a financial software such as QuickBooks or something of that nature, but you need to be collecting the information to create that profit and loss. You need to have an income statement. You need to have a balance statement. You need to have your tax returns. And so those are the base documents that you need to have. But more importantly than having them is, have you been educated on not just creating the document, but understanding what you're putting on the document? Do you understand yourself what your financial outlook is for that business, for your business? So we want you to be able to have it. And no, you can't just have a piece of paper. It needs to be generated from some level of accounting software. If you're doing it yourself, that's like a QuickBooks or a Waze or other accounting software that's going to produce that in a way that lending institutions are used to seeing it, because you're going to have to speak our language. Or you need to have a bookkeeper or accountant that's working with you. And we do provide some of that as institutions like ourselves, ViStar. We all will sit down with you and give you technical assistance on how to create those type of documents.
I have one question over here.
Real quick, let me add on to that. Just make sure the lending institution that you work with, make sure you're speaking to someone in the business banking area. Make sure you're speaking to the correct person, because if you're speaking to that correct person, they will provide that technical assistance for you for your business to make sure that you're getting all the information that you're needing. So when you just walk in, and the person that you need to speak to may not be at that branch right up the street from you that you use every day. You may have to go cross town somewhere to speak to that person. So get that information, sit down with them, let them know that you are a small business, that you may be looking for funds in the near future, whether or not it's now or 2 years from now, and say, hey, will you be able to assist me with what I need? They may tell you right now, we're not going to be able to do it for you. So you need to start looking, not to move your bank of accounts, but start looking for another institution that to start building a relationship with, that can give you that service, so that what you need, that whatever you need, the questions that you need to be answered, make sure you're speaking to the right person. And it's not always the person that's benefit your business, because you remember you have loan officers in the banking field that they're looking to, they will provide funds to you, but they're more so looking for that, what they're getting from getting that loan. They're not looking to provide that benefit to your business. So make sure you're speaking to someone with business knowledge that's going to benefit you all the way around. I always say make sure you speak to someone with SBA knowledge in that lending institution, because usually those are the folks that's going to provide the information for you to say, hey, you know what, maybe we could go conventionally with a loan to you, or maybe we could go SBA. They're going to look at it both ways, and they're there to benefit your business and not what's going to come out for them. So make sure you're doing that.
Okay, I have just 2 quick questions. Alyce, this question is for you. You said you've been doing this work in accounting and that you work with a lot of small businesses. So quickly, if you could give small businesses 3 tips to help them be more successful and to give you less of a headache as a CFO when their invoices come across the desk. And then my second question is, this is an incredibly rich conversation, and if we want to continue the conversation, where can we go today to see you guys to continue this conversation?
Well, I'll start with the continue with the conversation question first. Roslyn and Caleena have made themselves available at the Wealth Watchers booth. If you guys have questions, if you see them around, and I encourage you to, I have them give out their websites if you want more information on their services and products.
So sure, you can find us at www.bbif.com. That's bbif.com. I am here in the Jacksonville market and accessible. I'll be at the Wealth Watchers booth and get you my contact information as well.
And for the Small Business Administration, the North Florida office, we're actually located in Bay Meadows. However, we're not open to the public right now to take the walk-ins, I should say. You will have to make an appointment. I'm going to give you my email address.
Let's go. Get it, y'all. Get it.
Put an asterisk by that.
Get it.
Put an asterisk behind it.
I got something else to go. It's Roslyn. It's ROSALIND Bryant, BRYANT @SBA.gov. Now this is my disclosure. Do not email me and say, hey, my name is Roslyn, give me a call, because it's not going to happen. I'm being honest with you. I'm giving you my email address. If you have any questions or concerns, please send me a detailed information. I can answer your question and get back with you just like that. I travel, I handle 43 of the 67 counties here in Florida, so I'm traveling. So make sure that you give me a detailed email, and I'll be sure. I'm an email person, so usually you're going to receive the email back from me within 24 hours because I do that. If you don't, you're going to get a reply saying I'm out of the office until whenever, so you'll know that as well. So please, thank you.
All right, out of the office again. I hate those. Don't y'all hate those? Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard of SCORE, I didn't hear anybody mention SCORE. SCORE is SCORE. That's small business. They provide free mentorship. People come on your site, come to your job. You can zero down to your particular expertise or whatever type of business you have. But SCORE, they do all kinds of workshops online. So look into SCORE if you really need some help with launching a business and just get people behind you that support you, and SCORE is 100% free.
Well, SCORE, just so you know, since he mentioned SCORE, SCORE is one of, they are partly funded by the Small Business Administration. So we have 4 resource partners. We have SCORE, we have the Small Business Development Center, they're located in UNF. We have the Women's Business Center, they're located like right up the street. And we have the Veteran Beat Box. So for folks that are veteran, you do have a resource out there for you, which a lot of the information that you are paying for, as Caleena stated, is free of charge. And for those of you who are not veterans, the other 3 resource partners that we have, they put on workshops and seminars that you can get the information. So we always say, I know a lot of folks say, hey, I don't have time for that, but I'm quite sure you'd rather give a little bit time instead of spending $2,000, $3,000. You're a small business, remember, you shouldn't be pushing out that money like that. So you just have to be in your business. That is the key. Be in your business. Take that time out, because that's going to help you be successful.
And all of our technical assistance is absolutely free as well.
All righty.
In the essence of time, I'm gonna answer Ms. Davis. I'm gonna give you 1 tip.
Can I have 3?
No, we got 1, because in the essence of time, I'll give you 1, because you keep insisting. You guys may not be aware, but I actually work for Kara, so she's been up here bullying me from the front row this whole entire time. She's bullying me from the front row. But she knows one of my pet peeves is when businesses come up with these beautiful creative names, and they never register the company, and when I go to pay them, they're like, oh, don't pay it in the company name. And I'm like, but that's what it is. It's never been registered, they don't. And I think one of my other ones is having alternate pay methods. We don't pay by cash out. Yeah, I don't do the Zelle. Yeah, we don't pay by that. So those are mine. But I would like to thank Ms. Bryant and Ms. Shirley for taking the time out today. And as stated before, they'll be around and available if you guys have additional questions. Thank you.
All right. There we go. Y'all give them a hand. That's where the money at. Make sure you check